What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Today, we are going to be reviewing the brand new House of Krazees album, 31. This album, holy shit, completely blew me away. I went into this completely super open-minded. Previously had stated in my unboxing for the album that, I had known about HOK for a long time. I've had casket cuts since it dropped in 2013. Back in 2019, the homie Yakima Juggalo gave me burnt copies of all of the House of Krazees albums. And I just kind of sat on them. When I first got them from him, I did try listening to Home Sweet Home. It didn't really click for me. The quality of it wasn't that great. Since then, there have been some remasters. I've gotten my hand on some remasters, some kind of fan-made remasters, if you will, where the audio was improved and you could really hear a lot better. So going into this new album, I made it a priority to make sure I listened to House of Krazees. That way, when this album dropped, I had something to compare to. I wanted to be able to listen to the new one and hear anything that kind of connects it to the originals. So I am super glad that I did that, and I was very well aware of the discography of House of Krazees, because when 31 dropped, there's so many little subtle things in there that I caught that, to me, it made it really feel like their old shit. Now, Jamie Madrox had actually did an interview with Detroit Metro Times recently, and in it, he was talking about how this album came to be. And one of the things that he was talking about is when George heard some of these new songs, he had made the comment, "Are you sure these are new tracks and not old ones?" And I heard that and I saw that and I was like, come on, there's no way you couldn't tell that this is new. Listening to the album, I get kind of what he means by that. I think you can definitely tell this is new stuff, but the way that the mindset, the vibe that they went into to do this project, you can definitely tell that it was a certain mindset that I think they wanted to have to make this a House of Krazees album. Great little callbacks from news skits, little newscaster announcements, trick-or-treating, knocking on the door, stuff like that. To me, it was very well connected to all of their previous albums in that way. Absolutely fucking loved it. This album, the way that it's kind of stitched together as well, really kind of makes it a seamless flowing album, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like random songs recorded and slapped together. Sometimes albums have that vibe. This album, to me, did not have that. It's kind of like a continuous thing. Front to back, this thing is absolutely amazing. There's one track that I think unanimously a lot of people are kind of on. And, I have that same feeling as well with it. There's really only the one track that I even remotely, it kind of is a speed bump in the album, but I still enjoy it well enough. So, rambling like a motherfucker, hyping like a motherfucker, let's dive into this. I do have my CD. I had said in my unboxing I wasn't really going to focus too terribly much on the actual disc. It is still available on the website for you to order right now. I ended up having the homie Echo Side Fiend grab me this from Fright Fest, because as I was listening to this and I was like, all right, I want this CD. I went to look, the pre-orders, there's a little disclaimer in there that they've had such an abundance of orders that anyone who orders it from that point forward, the 29th forward, basically wasn't going to get their copy until the 20th of November. I was like, I do not want to wait that long. Granted, I could have done my review without the CD. There's just so many things I wanted to look at in this. There's things that I just wanted to hold it and feel the vibes. There was things about this artwork on the website that made me I want to get my hands on this. I don't want to wait. So I will kind of show it and open it. I already did that in my unboxing. If you have not watched my unboxing, you can do that. And actually, matter of fact, I'm just going to make you go watch the unboxing if you really want to see the insides of this thing. So I will flip it over to the back. I am not going to play you every single song on this. I will go through my top 5 and play you snippets of my top 5. But this album, like I said, front to back, absolutely banger. Let's go over the tracks real quick. 31. Sit Here to Take You, Lifeline, Into Hell Face First, Mask Playing Games, Make It Dark, Killing Machine, The Slaughter, The Carnage, Swim in Your Blood, Break Skin, Killer Hunter, The Basement, and Thorn. So immediately I knew what my favorite track was. The more that I've listened to this, it became a little more difficult what my favorite track was. I've got it down to 2. Narrowing it down to my 5 favorite tracks was even tougher because it's like, oh, I really like this one. Oh, I really like this one. So I think in my own little head, what I need to do is the first 5 that really stood out to me are the ones that I'm going to claim as my favorites. Because again, front to back, I absolutely love this album. Yeah, absolute banger. This album clocks in at like 40 some minutes. So it's actually in some ways short. A lot of the songs are maybe 2 to 3 minutes long. They're not overly long, and I like that. I think it makes for a great flowing album. It's not too overlong, and I don't feel like it's too short that, like, you know, it feels like it's at that perfect length. But let's go through real quick and talk about my top 5 tracks. One of the first ones to stand out to me was Sent Here to Take You.
That man's drop, bitch, please. You know that I'm not gonna stop. Stabbing to your body's just a pile of slop. Finger pain, pumpkin mass, hyperactive appetite, social skills are in relapse, I'm a mess.
That to me really set off the tone of the album. Absolutely fucking loved it. And see, as I'm looking at this track list, I'm thinking like I really want to put this track in the top 5. Another top track is definitely Mask Playing Games.
Not a single witness at the scene gotta look, cause my face is always covered by a mask like a crook. I don't need another mask like a hand with a hook.
Another top track is definitely Killing Machine.
Killing machine. Found me covered in blood like a psychopath laughing. Now I've been killing people since I came to the earth. I know it started with my mother, she would die giving birth. Then I was left alone, abandoned on the steps of a church.
And I want to put Break Skin in there as well.
Break skin, hemoglobin swimming just beneath. I can smell the life force piercing with my teeth. Drink, feed, live forever, never die again.
Internal recovery, proceed, don't think. Mental's working my cells, they not breaking the link.
Because I really, really like the chorus of this. And then the basement.
I was born inside a circle that was made out of fire, and with my every action hurtful, it was pain I desire. I found nothing fed the hunger that I had in my brain. Winter or summer, it was blood that I depravedly craved.
Definitely has to be in my top 5. Now, going through that, as far as what my actual favorite tracks are, I've been telling people that Mask Playing Games is my favorite. The more that I'm listening, I also really like The Basement, and almost want to give that the stamp of my favorite track as well. And the reason that I say that is The Basement, I think, has some lore building in it. I did not write any of the lyrics down, so I'm probably going to butcher shit. Go easy on me in the comments. But, you know, during the chorus, you have Mr. Bones saying, talk about how we were once right there where you are today. You know, and then during the breakdown of the chorus, it was mind, games, shackles, chains, killing hope, laughing at you while you break in the basement.
We were once right here where you are today. Patiently we waited, hoping that we would escape. Mind, games, shackles, chains, killing hope, laughing at you while you break in the basement.
And I heard that and I really just started thinking. And another thing about The Basement at the very end, and the homie Robbie from Diff Tug pointed this out, the very end skit is actually a callback to the opening track called Escape off of Head Trauma. If you've listened to that track, you know what I'm talking about. If you missed that, I feel like most people that have listened to this and have listened to Head Trauma probably picked up on those skits. When Robbie first made that observation, I was like, nah, I think it just means like they escaped the basement. But then I really paid attention. I was like, oh shit, Robbie's right. That was like a direct callback to the intro called Escape from Head Trauma. Love it. Turn on the news, Ted. It's blood everywhere. Absolutely fucking love that callback. Absolutely great. The lore that I think that they're trying to build in this, I'm still trying to figure it out and piece it all together. I haven't really dove deep enough into the original albums that they put out to really piece together their lore, what's their origins, you know. But one of the things about the basement that I really liked is it's almost like they were saying that they were originally, and the kind of concept I have in my own head is that at one point maybe they were trick-or-treaters, they were captured, they were thrown into the basement of the House of Krazees and drove to insanity. They were locked up in this basement so long that they were driven to insanity, and they managed to escape, or, you know, they managed to get out, and, you know, after getting out, they're insane, and they're part of the House of Krazees now. So I don't know if that's a stretch, but, you know, I don't know. I really like that. And I feel like there's a lot of other tracks that they've released throughout the years that could really kind of make that connection as well. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And I feel like Mask Playing Games kind of ties into it just a little bit too. So I'm still trying to figure all that out. But I do feel like there's some lore building in the basement. So if you felt like that as well, share your thoughts down below as well, because I'd like to have that conversation about it. So, yeah, the basement, I don't know. I might have to slap that as my favorite just because of that. But Mask Playing Games, like I was saying earlier, there's a little newscast at the end of Into Hell Face First that is absolutely great. They're talking about, like, basically warning citizens to be aware of these 3 individuals that are stalking people and following them home. And then, like, it ends off with, like, somebody getting killed. And I'm assuming the newscaster is getting killed live on camera.
Strange individuals wearing pumpkin masks were reportedly seen stalking residents in local downtown. Folks are advised to stay inside with their doors and windows locked up tight.
And it kind of goes quiet. And you hear this, like, ha, 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 ha. And then it goes into the intro, or, like, you hear the beat then for Mask Playing Games. That beat, holy shit, love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. Love the vibe that track has. So that was one of my standout tracks pretty much immediately. Absolutely loved it. Another one of my standout tracks is Killing Machine. I've seen some other people talking about this. That fucking hook is earwormed into my head. Kill a machine, yeah. Kill him, earworm. There's actually pretty much almost every one of the tracks on this album have earwormed themselves into my head multiple times. If you haven't watched my unboxing, I actually had said in there that I checked my Apple Replay yesterday. I'm filming this on Tuesday, the 5th. I checked my Apple Replay on Monday, the 4th, and fucking 31 was my top album for October after only being released 3 days prior to the end of the month. So it was on steady rotation. Absolutely fucking love this album. Killing Machine, like I said, is one of the ones that just earwormed its way into there. And I just love the beat. I love the vibe. I love the way that everyone flows on it. You know, I love the breakdown it kind of has during the verse where the beat changes up and you hear that. I'm terrible at doing sound effects. That was probably horrible, but maybe I'll just play a little snippet of it. You can hear it kind of break down here.
No therapy aligns, no escape from pumpkins dancing in the blind. Which way they coming from?
And I really like that about this track. It's just got such a chill vibe to it. Very fucking cool, very fucking dope. One of the other tracks that I put on here in my top 5 is Break Skin. And one of the reasons why I gave this is I just really like the chorus. I had seen some people, namely the homies over at Deck Wendell, saying that they kind of think it's weird. It's a little, I don't know, maybe off-putting. And I felt like that too at first, but the more that I've listened to it, I love the way Mr. Bones, aka Jamie, like just the way his vocals are on that hook. I love that they make him like sound vampire-ish. And I kind of don't know. I feel like maybe that's a chant that we could hear at a future show, assuming that they do another HOK show, which I would assume at some point down the road they would, whether it's 5, 10, 20 years later that they do a show. I don't know. I just feel like the drink, feed, live forever, never die. I can just hear, in my own head, I can hear and visualize people chanting that in the crowd. So I think that would be a really good crowd pleaser for a show. One of the things I do want to talk about is the Slaughter, the Carnage. This track here has some really cool samples at the very end of it. ROC talks about House of Krazees and then like record scratch goes to like a real quick sample of various songs from their first like 5 albums, you know, Home Sweet Home, Homebound, Season of the Pumpkin, Outbreed, and Head Trauma. You hear this like medley of samples.
I'm so crazy, we got so crazy, we got so crazy, we got so crazy, we got. Get ready for the slaughter.
I just loved it. That to me was so fucking cool how that was done. So one thing I do want to talk about is my one kind of dislike. I know a lot of people didn't really care for this song either, but Into Hell Face First, it was very, I like it, but it's a huge adjustment because we go from Sit Here to Take You into Lifeline, which is another fucking banger, and then we go into Hell Face First, and it's such a weird shift in sound. One of the other things about this track that I can't unhear now, and once I point it out to you guys, maybe you won't unhear it either, there's this random like piano key being hit during the beat, and it's like ding 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 ding.
Another sin and judging me, I'm fit to get perfect.
I first noticed it on my way back from Fort Wayne from the first show of the Long Live Evil tour. I was jamming out to it, and I heard that like bing, 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 and I'm like, oh fuck, what's wrong with my car? Because like I was playing my music pretty goddamn loud, and then I realized, oh, that's part of the song, and then I was never able to unhear it. And then the more that I've listened to the song, the more that I'm like, why is this here? Like, why? What is with this random piano note being played during the beat, in the beat? It feels so random and completely out of place. So, like, I still enjoy Into Hell Face First. For me, it just kind of is like, I don't know. I got to get, like, I quickly have to adjust my mindset in that song. But I still think it's great. I still think the album is pretty flawless. But that is definitely one of the songs that, like, it doesn't itch my brain as well as the others do. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about with this as well is kind of diving into one of the biggest complaints that I've heard from a lot of people, and that is the fact that the hooks are all Mr. Bones. There are actually a few tracks that have ROC in it, just a little bit, as well as with Hectic a little bit. There's a nice little accent of them in it that I really didn't mind, that it's very Mr. Bones heavy. And then not only that, but that same interview that Jamie did with Metro Detroit Times, hearing him talk about how this album came to be really kind of makes sense to me why maybe all the hooks are Mr. Bones.
Tricks and treats. I tried to trick ROC, and I sent him like a couple songs, and I'm like, hey man, can you do some beats for these? And then I sent him some other hooks and stuff like this, and he's like, that stuff was really good, man. Well, this is House of Krazees, isn't it? And I'm like, well, if you want it to be, it could be. Wink.
Basically, Jamie was like the driving creative force, I would say, behind this album. Obviously, he was in that mindset that he started writing down lyrics and then reached out to ROC about putting some beats to those lyrics. And as ROC's listening, he felt the vibe, and he was like, yo, this sounds like some House of Krazees. And Jamie's like, well, I mean, it can be if you want. And then they ended up getting Paul in there. And let me just talk about Paul, man. Like, he completely understood the assignment, and he went dark with this. Everybody went dark with this. They went into that mindset, and I'm really glad that they did. Because I think not doing it would have just made it be Twisted featuring ROC. Which, one thing I want to say, weirdly, is the track Thorn. It feels like a Twisted track. It doesn't really feel like it's House of Krazees. But, you know, it's kind of got that, like, I don't want to say emo, but it's got like that sad boy tone to it, you know, that they're going to kill everybody because of the hurt that they feel inside. So it's, I mean, it still fits the vibe of like kill, but like the reason they're killing. I don't know. It was kind of a weird shift up for me. I've seen a lot of people say that they felt like the best House of Krazees track was actually the single that they gave away at the show. That track bangs. And honestly, I do feel like if they would have actually thrown that track at the end of this and taken Thorn off, that would have been a perfect end to the album as well. And actually there for a while, because I'd gotten the MP3 of Down the Street, I actually had that as the closer after Thorn. But since getting Shit to Make Your Ears Bleed, I decided to throw it on that album rather than keep it on 31, just because, you know, it feels like it belongs on Shit to Make Your Ears Bleed, since that's a compilation of newer HOK tracks. So yeah, Thorn, I enjoy it, I like it, but I do, like, going into it, it felt more like a Twisted featuring ROC type track. And I know I've seen ROC talk about how in the past, anytime Twisted has a track with ROC, people like immediately just label it as House of Krazees. And I don't think that that's right, just because I think House of Krazees needs to have a certain vibe to it. I think the name, the vibe, the masks, it just needs to be spooky. It needs to be dark. So I think unless they're going into that dark side, it's okay to label a Twisted track featuring ROC as just that, Twisted featuring ROC. So some of the songs that they didn't put on, well, I guess they did put everything on there, didn't they? Besides Curse of the Jack-O-Lantern, which, huge flaw. Death Talk. I guess Death Talk is another one. But I don't really understand why they didn't put Death Talk on there, because it's literally, there's mentions of Crazy House. Fucking ROC starts his verse off with, yeah, what Hectic said. So I'm getting off track here. Let's get back on track here. So yeah, I feel like to really, going forward, the best way for it to be, to me, labeled as House of Krazees is if they're in that mindset. Like, I had this conversation in the comments of my unboxing that I would actually be okay with going forward if Twisted is more of the hip-hop / rock shit that they want to do, and they use House of Krazees as their vessel to do straight wicked shit. I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. I don't think that that's what they'll do, but I'm cool with that. I think that House of Krazees is the perfect place for them to do that. And they did that with 31. They went into that mindset and killed it beautifully, perfectly. So one of the things I also want to talk about is something I noticed almost immediately when they had shown, like when they were posting pictures of the album. And that is the fact of the way that they did the spine here with the 31. Now, I had seen some people kind of raise the question of, are we going to get a Songs of Sam Hain? And this was back when they first announced that they were going to be dropping a new album. I immediately was like, there's no way they're going to do Songs of Sam Hain because they're doing House of Krazees. Songs of Sam Hain, to me, really felt like in the vibe of House of Krazees. I did not think that they were going to do a Songs of Sam Hain. And I had seen someone, I can't remember where it was. I feel like it might have been on Juggalo Rewind, where ROC mentions that and talks about the fact that they weren't going to do a Songs of Sam Hain because they're doing House of Krazees, and that most likely they'll pick the series of Songs of Sam Hain back up next year. Now, I don't think that they did the 31 on the spine like that to say that this is in the continuation of Songs of Sam Hain, but just kind of saying, like, and I'm going to pull them all out here, when you put all of these together, like, it does kind of flow that way. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what their intention was with that. Is this their way of saying that, like, this is taking the spot of Songs of Sam Hain for this year? This kind of fits in the line of albums? I don't know. I doubt that that's what they're saying, but I don't know. My brain, I'm so fucking imaginative. My brain just immediately was like, oh, so what if the liminal space is the portal or whatever that they use to come back in time, but there's no concept of time in this album. So I'm like, no, that can't be it. Well, then it was, liminal space. I looked up what it is, and it's like, it's a place where there's like a shift. I forget the actual, I looked it up and I was like, oh, I got to remember that from my review. And I didn't remember it from my review. But it's basically a place of transition. That's what it was. A place of transition. I was like, oh, so like the basement. Like they went from being like innocent people or whatever, potentially. I mean, I don't know the characters before they were House of Krazees. And then they were driven to insanity in that basement. That's the liminal space where there was that transitional place. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's so much lore in that track, and I feel like there's some lore to really definitely explore throughout all of the House of Krazees discography. Now, one of the things also before we wrap this up is the album cover. I've come around to this cover quite a bit. I do still feel like if they would have had the title be kind of like the old ones, it would be a nice little continuation, if you will. I talked about it in my unboxing. I'll flash the shirt here. This shirt right here, I still, to this day, feel like this was the perfect album cover. It's got the mask to really tie to not only Shit to Make Your Ears Bleed, which has the mask, but also with Casket Cuts, which has the mask, as well as the box set for the vinyl and the cassettes that they put out has that mask as well. I felt like it would be a great way to connect it. And I know you could say they're all wearing their pumpkin masks. I don't know. I felt like there was more that could have been done. And I feel like that shirt that they had was perfect. That shirt was it. It has them with their weapons. It has that mask there. It's even got a similar looking style to the title. So I don't know. That was the perfect one. And for whatever reason, I get really anal about album covers. I spend way too much attention on that, and I don't know why. But I have come around to this cover. I think I like this cover more than I like the one that was for the VIPs. I love the mask, but the 31 that's like there with the pumpkin seeds really kills the vibe for me. Really. Like if it would have been a knife that maybe had something in the knife, that would have been cool. I just don't think that the 31 with the pumpkin seeds was it. So I have come around to this, and I actually prefer this over the VIP. But yeah, I've rambled on like a motherfucker, and I don't even know if I've said everything I wanted to say about this. It's absolutely great. I love it. If you love you some Wicked shit, this album is it. So just saying, if you haven't listened to it, go check it out. You might really like it. And if you don't like it, that's okay too. You don't have to like everything that comes out. And maybe your mindset isn't dark and wicked like that. That's okay too. But if you have listened to this album, tell me down below what you guys think about it. What are your favorite tracks? And if you didn't like it, you can also tell me down below what you didn't like about it. Just remember to always be respectful. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.